When you close your eyes and picture a penguin, what do you see? I bet it's a scene straight out of a classic nature documentary. You probably imagine a vast frozen landscape of brilliant white snow and deep blue ice. Hordes of penguins, maybe emperor or Adelie penguins, are huddled together for warmth, waddling across glaciers under the pale Antarctic sun. They look like they're dressed in the sharpest black and white tuxedos, ready for a very formal, very cold party. This image is powerful, and it's what most of us have grown up with. It's the penguin we see in movies, in cartoons, and on the front of holiday cards. This classic picture isn't wrong, of course. Many penguins do indeed call the frigid South their home. This iconic image of penguins thriving in a world of ice has become so ingrained in our minds that it's hard to imagine them anywhere else. We think of them as the ultimate survivors of the cold, perfectly built to withstand bone-chilling winds and sub-zero temperatures. Their thick layers of blubber and dense waterproof feathers are legendary adaptations for life in the planet's freezer. We see them sliding on their bellies across the ice, a playful behavior that also saves energy in their harsh environment. This picture of the quintessential polar penguin is a testament to nature's ability to create life in the most extreme places on Earth. It's a beautiful and accurate portrait for many species, but it's only one part of a much bigger and much more surprising story. The story of penguins, however, is far more diverse and geographically widespread than these icy portraits suggest. Believing that all penguins live in Antarctica is like thinking all bears live in the Arctic. Just as there are grizzly bears in North American forests and sun bears in the tropical forests of Southeast Asia, the penguin family has members that have ventured far from the polar ice. The tuxedo-clad bird we associate exclusively with snow and ice has some cousins who have traded in a winter wonderland for sun-drenched coastlines and even scorching deserts. This revelation can be a bit of a shock, challenging our neat and tidy categorizations of the natural world. It opens up a whole new chapter in the amazing story of penguin evolution and adaptation. So, let's get ready to expand our understanding of these incredible birds. We're going to leave the familiar frozen landscapes behind and journey to some unexpected places. Our adventure will take us to the coast of South America and to remote volcanic islands right on the equator. Here, we'll discover that the penguin's famous tuxedo is just as suitable for a day at the beach as it is for an Antarctic blizzard. It's time to meet the penguins of the tropics, the sun-worshipping, desert-dwelling members of the family who prove that these birds are far more adaptable and resilient than we ever gave them credit for. Prepare to have your perception of penguins completely turned upside down. Penguins in the sun. Now, hold on a minute. Penguins in the desert? It sounds like a tall tale, something you might hear from an old sailor after too long at sea. But I'm here to tell you it's absolutely true. Some penguin species have set up shop in some of the hottest and driest places on the planet. Imagine swapping the endless ice sheets of Antarctica for the rugged, arid coastlines of Peru and Chile, where the dry Atacama Desert meets the cool Pacific Ocean. Here, instead of navigating through a maze of icebergs, these penguins navigate through cacti and sun-baked rocks. It's a world away from the polar stereotype, a place where the biggest climate challenge isn't freezing, but frying under the intense equatorial sun. This isn't just a handful of lost penguins who took a wrong turn. We are talking about entire species that are specially adapted to thrive in these warmer climates. These are tropical penguins, and they have been living this way for thousands of years. Their existence completely shatters the one-dimensional image of the ice-loving bird. They show us that the penguin family tree has branches that reach into environments that seem, at first glance, completely unsuitable for them. These birds are pioneers, having colonized habitats that would be deadly for their Antarctic relatives. Their story is a powerful lesson in the incredible diversity of life and the surprising ways animals can adapt to survive. The key to their survival in these seemingly alien environments is the ocean. While the land may be hot and dry, the coastal waters they call home are surprisingly cold. This is thanks to powerful ocean currents that sweep up from the frigid depths of the Antarctic. These currents act like a natural air conditioning system for the marine ecosystem, bringing nutrient-rich, chilly water to the surface. This creates a paradise for the small fish, squid, and krill that penguins love to eat. So, while these penguins may have to walk on sun-scorched Earth, they get to swim and hunt in a refreshingly cool, food-filled underwater world. It's this amazing duality of hot land and cold sea that makes their unique lifestyle possible. So, the next time you think of penguins, I want you to add a new image to your mental scrapbook. Alongside the picture of penguins huddled against a blizzard, add one of a penguin standing on a sandy beach with the hot sun overhead and the cool blue ocean just a few steps away. This is the reality for the tropical tuxedo birds. They are a living, waddling paradox, creatures of the cold thriving in the heat. Their story is one of resilience, adaptation, and the surprising interconnectedness of different environments. They are proof that nature is full of wonderful surprises and that animals often refuse to be confined by our expectations. Let's get formally introduced to some of these amazing, sun-loving penguins. First up is the Humboldt penguin, named after the cold Humboldt current it depends on. You can find these incredible birds along the desert coasts of Chile and Peru. Life here is tough. They dig their homes, called burrows, into thick layers of bird droppings known as guano, or find shelter in rocky crevices to escape the blistering sun. They have a distinctive black band that runs across their white chests, like a single, bold stripe on their tuxedo shirt. Watching a Humboldt penguin navigate the rocky, arid landscape before diving into the cool Pacific is a truly remarkable sight. A perfect example of an animal living on the edge of two different worlds. Next on our list is a true equatorial specialist, the Galapagos penguin. This is the only penguin species found north of the equator, living among the iconic volcanic islands that Charles Darwin made famous. They are one of the smallest penguin species in the world, a trait that actually helps them deal with the heat. A smaller body has a larger surface area to volume ratio, which makes it easier to shed excess body heat. They are often seen standing on the black volcanic rock, holding their flippers out to the side to catch the cooling breeze. These penguins are entirely dependent on the cold, nutrient-rich waters brought to the islands by the Cromwell Current, proving that, even on the equator, a penguin's life is tied to a chilly ocean. Our third warm-weather wanderer is the Magellanic penguin, a close relative of the Humboldt and Galapagos penguins. These birds have a much wider range, nesting in large colonies along the coasts of Argentina, Chile, and even southern Brazil. While some of their colonies are in cooler, more temperate regions, many live in arid, shrubby environments that can get very warm. They are named after the explorer Ferdinand Magellan, who first spotted them in 1520. You can distinguish them by the two black bands across their chests, making them look like they are wearing a double-striped vest. They are incredible long-distance swimmers, sometimes traveling hundreds of miles in search of food for their hungry chicks. Each of these three species, the Humboldt, the Galapagos, and the Magellanic, tells a unique story of survival and adaptation. They may not face the extreme cold of their Antarctic cousins, but they have their own set of formidable challenges, from intense heat to unpredictable food supplies. They are a testament to the incredible evolutionary journey of the penguin family, showing how a design originally perfected for the coldest places on Earth could be tweaked and refined to conquer the tropics. These are the penguins that broke the mold, the rebels of the penguin world who traded ice for sand and proved that a tuxedo is fashionable in any climate. So, how does a bird built for the cold avoid overheating in a tropical desert? It's a great question, and the answer lies in a brilliant combination of anatomy and behavior. One of their most clever tricks involves their flippers and feet. Unlike their bodies, which are covered in dense, insulating feathers, their flippers and feet have bare patches of skin. When they get too hot, they can increase blood flow to these areas. The surrounding air or cool water then draws heat away from their bodies, much like a radiator in a car. You'll often see them holding their flippers out, away from their bodies, to maximize this cooling effect. It's a simple, but incredibly effective way to manage their body temperature. Behavioral adaptations are just as important. Tropical penguins are masters of finding shade and avoiding the harshest sun of the day. They often seek refuge in caves, under rock ledges, or in burrows they dig themselves. This is why guano beds were historically so important for species like the Humboldt penguin. The soft, deep material was perfect for digging protective tunnels. Furthermore, they are most active during the cooler parts of the day, like early morning and late afternoon. During the scorching midday heat, they prefer to be either resting in their shady shelters or swimming in the cool ocean, where overheating is not an issue. They've essentially adopted a siesta lifestyle to cope with the tropical climate. Another key cooling mechanism is something you might have seen dogs do: panting. When a penguin gets really warm, it will open its beak and breathe rapidly. This process, known as gular fluttering, increases airflow over the moist surfaces inside its mouth and throat, which promotes evaporative cooling. It's a highly efficient way to dump excess body heat without losing too much water, which is crucial in their often dry environments. They also have a special gland near their eyes that helps them get rid of excess salt from the seawater they drink, which helps them stay hydrated without needing to find fresh water, a rare commodity in many of their coastal homes. Finally, their very body structure plays a role. Compared to their giant cousin, the emperor penguin, tropical penguins like the Galapagos penguin are quite small. This smaller body size is a huge advantage in the heat. A smaller animal has a higher surface area to volume ratio, meaning there is more skin surface available to release heat relative to the body's overall mass, which generates it. Their feathers, while still providing excellent waterproofing, are also shorter and less dense than those of their Antarctic relatives. This intricate suite of physical traits and clever behaviors allows these tuxedoed birds not just to survive but to thrive in the sun. The secret to a penguin's success in the tropics isn't found on the hot, dry land, but in the cool, productive waters just offshore. The entire ecosystem that supports these penguins is fueled by powerful cold ocean currents. The Humboldt Current, for instance, is a massive flow of cold water that travels up the west coast of South America from the Antarctic. This current is like a giant conveyor belt, bringing deep, nutrient-rich water to the sunlit surface in a process called upwelling. These nutrients ignite a massive bloom of plankton, which in turn supports huge schools of anchovies, sardines, and other small forage fish. This is the chilly buffet that our tropical penguins depend on for their survival. This reliance on cold currents makes the penguins' lives a bit of a gamble. Their food source is incredibly abundant, but it can also be very unpredictable. Events like El Niño can wreak havoc on these delicate systems. During an El Niño year, the normal trade winds weaken, and the Humboldt Current slows down or is pushed further offshore. Warm water from the western Pacific spreads across the ocean surface, putting a lid on the cold, nutrient-rich water below. This causes the entire food chain to collapse. The plankton dies off, the fish disappear or move to deeper, colder water, and suddenly the penguins are left with an empty pantry. These events can lead to widespread starvation and nesting failure. To find their food, penguins are masterful divers. They use their powerful flippers to fly through the water with incredible speed and agility, chasing down slippery fish and squid. A Magellanic penguin might dive over 150 feet deep and stay underwater for several minutes on a single breath. They have solid, heavy bones, unlike the hollow bones of flying birds, which helps them dive more easily. Their incredible underwater vision and streamlined bodies make them formidable predators in their marine environment. They often hunt in groups, working together to herd schools of fish into tight balls, making them easier to catch. It's a beautiful display of cooperative and efficient hunting. The connection between these penguins and their specific ocean currents is a powerful reminder of how interconnected our planet's systems are. The penguins may live on land that is technically in the tropics, but their entire existence is tied to a cold water marine environment. They are not truly tropical in the same way a parrot or a monkey is. Instead, they are polar specialists who have found a clever loophole, a little slice of the Antarctic Ocean that has been conveniently delivered to a warmer latitude. This delicate balance is what makes their existence possible, but it also makes them incredibly vulnerable to changes in our oceans. With all this amazing adaptability, you might be wondering, why aren't penguins found all over the world? If they can handle the Antarctic cold and the equatorial heat, why don't we see them in Hawaii or on the coasts of Florida? The answer is that even the most adaptable animal has its limits, and penguins have a very specific set of requirements that aren't met everywhere. The first and most significant barrier is warm ocean water. While tropical penguins can handle hot air, they cannot survive in warm seas. Their entire food web is based on the cold, nutrient-rich waters we've discussed. The warm, clear waters of the Caribbean, for example, are a biological desert compared to the rich Humboldt Current, and simply couldn't support a penguin colony. Another major hurdle is the presence of land-based predators. The places where penguins thrive, both in the Antarctic and in South America, have one thing in common: a relative scarcity of large terrestrial predators. On remote islands or desolate coastlines, there are few threats to a nesting penguin colony on land. They have to worry about predatory birds like skuas or gulls stealing eggs or chicks, but they don't have to deal with threats like foxes, coyotes, or big cats. This is a critical reason why they haven't been able to colonize continents like North America or Australia. A flightless, ground-nesting bird would be an easy meal for the many skilled predators that live there. Penguins are also creatures of habit with very specific nesting needs. They require safe, stable ground where they can lay their eggs and raise their chicks, which can take several months. They need locations that are safe from flooding and offer some protection from the elements, whether that's wind, cold, or sun. Many species, like the Magellanic and Humboldt penguins, need soft enough ground to dig burrows. Others, like the Galapagos penguin, rely on the nooks and crannies found in volcanic rock. These ideal nesting sites, combined with proximity to a rich, cold water food source, are a rare combination found only in specific parts of the world, almost exclusively in the southern hemisphere. Finally, there are historical and geographical barriers. Penguins evolved in the southern hemisphere, and for millions of years the warm equatorial waters have acted as a thermal barrier, preventing them from spreading north on their own. The one species that did cross the line, the Galapagos penguin, was only able to do so because the cold Cromwell Current provided a chilly underwater highway directly to the equator. Without these specific oceanographic conditions, they simply cannot cross the warm tropical belt. So, while they are incredible survivors, penguins are ultimately bound by the limitations of their biology, their history, and the specific environmental conditions they need to flourish. The warm weather penguins, these amazing masters of adaptation, are facing a battery of modern threats that are pushing their resilience to the limit. Climate change is a major villain in their story. As global temperatures rise, ocean currents are becoming less stable. More frequent and intense El Niño events mean more frequent food shortages, which can devastate entire colonies. The delicate balance that allows these penguins to live in hot climates is being thrown into chaos. Changes in sea temperature can also force their prey to move to different locations, forcing the penguins to travel farther and expend more energy to find a meal, which puts a huge strain on them, especially during the breeding season. Human activities on land and at sea add another layer of danger. Overfishing is a huge problem. Commercial fisheries often target the same anchovies and sardines that the penguins rely on, creating direct competition for food. When fish stocks are depleted, the penguins are the ones who starve. Pollution, from oil spills to plastic debris, is another deadly threat. An oil spill can destroy the insulating and waterproofing properties of a penguin's feathers, leading to hypothermia even in warmer waters, and like so many marine animals, they can mistake plastic for food or become entangled in discarded fishing nets, leading to injury or death. These are direct threats that we have the power to control. Even well-intentioned human presence can be a problem. Unregulated tourism can cause stress to nesting colonies. When people get too close, it can disturb the birds, causing them to abandon their nests and leave their eggs or chicks vulnerable to predators and the elements. On land, the historic harvesting of guano for fertilizer destroyed the nesting habitat for thousands of Humboldt penguins, forcing them to nest in more exposed and dangerous locations. Protecting their nesting grounds from human disturbance and development is absolutely critical for their long-term survival. We must learn to share the coastlines with these incredible animals and give them the space they need to thrive. Protecting these unique penguins is about more than just saving a single group of species. It's about preserving the wonder of biodiversity and protecting the delicate web of life that supports them. Their surprising lifestyle challenges our simple ideas about nature and teaches us a valuable lesson about adaptation and resilience. By working to reduce overfishing, combat climate change, and protect their habitats, we can help ensure that these tropical tuxedo birds continue to grace the desert coasts and volcanic islands for generations to come. They are a living reminder that the natural world is full of surprises, and it is our responsibility to be good stewards of its many treasures.